Ian, it's 18 minutes past 7. Now, fashions may change quickly in the pop industry, but it seems that the fans never tire of Cliff Richard. In nearly 30 years, he's spent more than 1,000 weeks in the charts. At the moment, though, Cliff's doing Time, starring in Dave Clark's smash hit musical, that is. And he's also recorded a new single with Sarah Brightman called All I Ask of You. It's from Andrew Lloyd Webber's latest production, Phantom of the Opera.
No more talk of darkness. Forget these wide-eyed fears. I'm here, nothing can harm you. My words will warm and calm you. Let me be your freedom. Let daylight dry your tears. I'm here with you, beside you, to guard you and to guide you.
Cliff, it's a smashing song. Congratulations. I'm sure it'll do well. How did you get involved?
So. Well, in fact, you know, Andrew Lloyd Webber had rung me up last year to do a duet with Sarah, and it was the Pie Jesu song.
Oh, yes.
And we met up there, and I must have, my honest opinion was that it would have sounded better with a young boy's voice. And
it sounded very good.
And it was lovely, the record they finally made. But Andrew kept me in mind, I guess, and when the opportunity of doing another duet came up, he got in touch with me and said, if you like the song, would you like to do it with Sarah? And I loved the song immediately on the first hearing. Very
good backing group.
Very nice having a group like that.
The Philharmonic.
The Royal Philharmonic, yeah.
Yeah, it's not bad singing with them.
No, it's wonderful. It's like being on a cloud. I did a concert once with the London Philharmonic, and when you've got like 80 musicians behind you, it's like being lifted up. I mean, it's really quite an exhilarating experience.
You're not going to be in Phantom of the Opera, though, are you?
Oh, no, not at all. No, in fact, you know, Steve Harley did the first record, the Phantom of the Opera record that was in the charts earlier in the year. Sarah did that with Steve Harley, and that won't be, he's not in the show either. I think Andrew's being fairly clever by getting people like ourselves who have had chart success to sing the singles. We won't even appear on his album.
No, but it's very good publicity for the show and everybody. Are you going to go and see it?
Oh, yeah, it's not half. I can't wait. There's a couple of shows I can't wait to see. Chess is one of them, and Phantom is another.
You haven't been able to see them, of course, because you're busy.
Yes, I do my own matinees, and unfortunately Chess has matinees on Thursdays, but from next week I'm free of my Thursday matinee commitment, and so therefore I shall go and see Chess.
So you can sit there with your candy floss and...
Yeah, I shall go very cheering.
That's right, to a matinee. Yeah. Well, anyway, look, it's nice to have you in. We'll talk to you a bit later on.
Okay.
Best luck with that record. We've got lots more to talk about a bit later on in the programme.
Alrighty.
Cliff Richard is our guest, and without being rude, I think I can quite justifiably say he hasn't been seen much at the moment because he's been doing Time.
Yes, I've only been seen when I've been on stage at the Dominion, yes, that's right.
How's it going? It's going, actually, much better than everybody predicted, in a way, isn't it?
Well, yes, it is, because, in fact, funnily enough, it's very difficult dealing with reviews these days, because no matter how hard you think you've become, it's terribly hurtful when people write off something that you've put your heart into. But I am convinced that reviewers do live in a different world. I went to see Aliens the other day and saw it twice in the same week. It is the greatest film. It's fantastic. It's better than the original. And yet when I read a review by Benny Green in the Daily Mail, I thought, well, he doesn't live in the same world as I do. And the whole audience was cheering and stomping. So when we get bad reviews, I think we've got to be philosophical about it and say, what are we trying to do? We're trying to give high-tech entertainment. And I think Time is second to none when it comes to high-tech, pure entertainment.
It is unbelievable. I came to the premiere, and when that thing zooms out at you and Laurence Olivier's huge face...
See, because we're not
trying to take the place
You know, we don't compete in that area. But there again, there's nobody else really competing in our area. So I think there's enough give and take, or should be enough give and take in the West End for us all to be successful in different ways.
And you're not bored either, because people said, oh,
No.
you'll get bored doing a stage musical.
No, it may be because it's my first ever real sort of musical where I've had to do a bit of acting, a little bit of dancing and singing and stuff, and I found it all very exhilarating. I've had no time to be bored, and I've done nearly 6 months now.
You look as what's happened to your little bits, your long bits at the bottom?
When it got that,
Were
you know,
they
that little bit of
extensions?
hot, they were extensions.
They were.
Yeah, they were plaited into my own hair.
Yeah.
But when we had that little bit of hot weather, because they're not real hair, it all stuck to my neck. It was so uncomfortable. I spent the whole time acting like this.
Oh, you don't, don't want to go around doing that too
Like
much,
Miss
do you,
Piggy,
really?
you know. So I took them out, you know, and now I thought, well, I'm going to grow my own.
And do you still have the microphone? We all have these microphones here, that's sort of there.
Oh yes, right.
Do you still have it going right up through your hair and down onto your forehead?
Yes, because what you do is I pull a little bit more of my hair down at night, you know, and by having it here, and you colour it with makeup so it looks flesh coloured, and if you draw people's eyes to your hair, they don't notice it.
I think that's brilliant.
Oh, it is good.
Did you think of that?
Oh no, it's been done in musicals for the last couple of years. I think it's a great innovation into theatre, because it means that no matter where you face, your voice is always going to go into this microphone, and it's a wonderful invention.
What about the gamble? It must have been a bit frightening, because it was a multi-million-pound extravaganza time.
Well,
Did it ever worry you, especially when the hydraulics started to go wrong at the very beginning?
No, well, I mean, in point of fact, they're terribly safety conscious, because in fact it did break down for 5 shows and we weren't allowed to go on it. And we're never allowed to step on it unless it's been checked. Before every single show, every piece of machinery is checked, so they're terribly safety conscious. But there was no gamble from my point of view. The only person that was due to lose anything if it went wrong was Dave Clark.
Yes, a lot of money. And next week is your how manyth performance?
On the 4th of this month, it'll be 200 performances.
Brilliant, well done.
I haven't missed any.
No, I know, and we'll talk about the accident that nearly made you miss it
All right.
a bit later on.
Okay.
He's a nice guy, isn't he? A remarkably enduring stuff.
Cliff Richard is still with us. You nearly didn't make it to a show the other night because of a very bad accident on the motorway. What happened?
Yes, I was leaving. I'd been playing tennis at the David Lloyd Centre, and I was going to the theatre, and I thought, well, I've left an hour to do a 40-minute journey, so I wasn't rushing. And I was going down the middle of the middle lane at the time, and Hurricane Charlie had come from America. You know that hurricane they had
Yes,
over
I
there?
remember.
It came over here as gallons of rain, and it poured on us that afternoon. And the road was very wet, and I was being sprayed on, and I thought, well, I'll move into the faster lane because it seemed to be clearer. I moved into there, and within 2 minutes, I saw brake lights ahead of me. I put my brakes on, and I aquaplaned. And I don't know if any of you have ever aquaplaned, but it's the most horrifying thing, because what happens is that the speed doesn't change. You know you've got your foot on the brakes, and yet the speed doesn't change, and you slide at 60 miles an hour, or maybe even 65. I crashed into the guy ahead of me, who crashed into the guy ahead of him. When I thought to myself, wow, I've survived this, crunch, the guy behind me, of course, came into me, and then one guy hit him as well, so there were 5 of us. But fortunately, nobody was badly injured. I had a certain amount of that whiplash. And it manifested itself with aches in the back that moved around for about 2 weeks and ended up, I've still got a slightly stiff neck, but really I was very fortunate.
Yeah, but the incredible thing is that you managed to make it to the stage that night.
Yeah, I got to the theatre just before 7. So, I mean, the police were fabulous. I said, please phone the theatre, tell them I'm all right and that the show will go on even if it goes on a bit late. And all we did was go up about 10 minutes late. So it wasn't too bad.
Incredible. It must be incredible for you to sit here, or sit anywhere, come to think of it, and reflect on all your years in the business. But right when you were a lad of, how old were you when you first had your hit?
Well, I made my first record before I was 18. And
That was while you were still working, wasn't it?
Yes, I was still doing a regular day job.
Yeah, at the light bulbs factory. or
Yes,
something
it was
like
a subsidiary of Thorn, actually. And now, funnily enough, Thorn, they bought EMI, didn't they? So I've only ever worked for 2 companies, and now they've amalgamated.
That says something. Go right back, though. When you were a little boy,
Yeah.
you were brought up in India. Do you
Well,
remember?
I was born there. Oh, yeah, I can remember a little bit. The childish things that one remember, of course. I mean, India ended up with the home rule business, and the British weren't that welcome at that particular time, so my father wisely brought us out of it. They always talked about coming home to England, and I always considered England home, even though I was born in India. I can remember all the nice things, flying kites and eating great Indian food, and hearing what seemed to me like cowboys shooting at the end of the road, but in fact it was rioters.
There was an incredible contrast there, wasn't there, when you got to home, to
England.
Britain, yes. Your
Yes.
lifestyle changed completely, didn't it?
Drastic, because we were very well off, or certainly quite well off in India.
Your father was catering manager of the railway.
Yes, he worked on the railway and was a district manager. And so therefore we had no trouble with food and drink and stuff, and we had a really nice apartment. And my mother never ever had to work. And of course when we came to England it all changed drastically. We as kids I suppose didn't notice it too much. But certainly I can remember my mother having some terrifying times, you know, because we were poverty stricken when we arrived here. My father arrived with a family of 3 children and a wife and £5 sterling.
That's all.
Yeah, if it wasn't for my grandmother and a kindly aunt, I don't know what we'd have done.
And I understand, I read once that your father was so proud he wasn't going to buy anything on HP. He even made furniture out of old boxes and things
we
like
got
that.
a council house because our situation was so bad. They jumped the queue for us. That was before I was Cliff Richard, you see. It was just because we were in trouble. So our state thing is quite nice here, isn't it? They do look after those who
That's
are
right,
not
yeah.
well off.
You really saw
But
the
the council house, of course, we had to fill it with furniture and we couldn't afford any. So my dad didn't want to go on the Never Never, so he made 2 armchairs out of packing cases that he got for £5 each from his factory.
Is that what made you determined, in a way, to be a star? You were going to make it?
I don't know, it's really hard to analyse. I know that if psychiatrists and psychologists try to work out why we as artists get to where we go, they often say that we try to break out of our environment. But I don't remember being unhappy. You see, I mean, I don't think poverty's got anything to do with being unhappy. My father was really poor and so was my mum, and we were all a very poor family. But I don't ever remember being unhappy. I have no bad childhood memories. So I think I just made it because I wanted to sing rock and roll. I just saw Elvis and thought I'd be like him.
Yeah, he was the catalyst for you, really,
Oh,
wasn't he?
absolutely, yeah. All those great singers were around at the time, you know, Frank Sinatra, Perry Como, Bing Crosby. But they didn't inspire me. As much as I can see that they're great singers, they didn't inspire me to be like them. Whereas when I saw Elvis, that was it.
Did you ever meet him?
No. I nearly did. When I went to America with the Devil Woman record, which was my first really big hit there, a journalist said to me, I know Elvis, I can introduce you. But Elvis was going through a very fat period and he wasn't very well. And I said, look, my memories of Elvis is not this person at the moment, so let me wait till he's dieted or something and I'll meet him properly.
You never did.
But of course I never did, and I feel I missed out. It was very stupid of me.
Yeah, maybe you're right, though. A legend has to be a legend.
My memory's intact.
Yeah.
Elvis is the king, and my memory of him is not that fat person which was part of his illness, really. So I remember the animal that kicked everything off.
Well, to a great many other people, you're the king, too. And the best of luck with your latest record, All I Ask of You.
With
I'm
Sarah?
sure you don't need any luck, really, because I
Oh,
know
I
it's going
don't
to do
know.
well, because it's got a wonderful tune and very good
Thank
singers
you.
and all that.
But we
And a
can
very
all do
good
it
backing
somewhere.
group, as we said earlier.
Yes.
Thanks very much for coming in. It's
Thank
been
you.
great to talk to you again.
My pleasure, thank you.